Good now, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. It is a big day today. I'm so excited to tell you that the ETH ETFs have been approved. But what does it mean? Why did it happen? Why the sudden reversal? Don't worry, we're going to talk about it. My name is Evan, and I am so glad to have you here. If you're just seeing me for the first time, then welcome. If you're one of the people watching on YouTube or one of my friends from our community, then you got to hear my 30-second spiel first so we can welcome the new folks. This is your place for helpful crypto news, commentary, answers to your questions about blockchain. What the heck is it? What actually is this stuff, and why does it matter? That's what we talk about here on the show. We're not going to shame you, make you feel like you're asking any stupid questions, and we're not going to try and sell you anything except maybe the baddest coffee mug on any morning show, anywhere. Come fight me. Don't fight me, but do bring us your questions. This is a great safe place to ask to get up to speed with all things happening in crypto. Like I said, we'll start by talking about the ETFs, the ETFs, but we'll move on from there. Anything from what is Bitcoin to what is mining to why do I need a cold wallet to who is Satoshi Nakamoto. I don't know. We can talk about whatever. And I'm just so glad you're here. Jim, thanks so much, man, for the likes. It's good to see you. Pirate Grandin, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Robbie's here. I'm going to give everybody just a minute to come on in. I have posted in the Discord the resource that is going to be driving the first part of this conversation today. The biggest news story in the crypto space is, of course, the approval of the Ethereum ETF. Totally blindsided us. We didn't think it was coming. And as always, Unchained Crypto is totally on top of it. So if you haven't yet, I would invite you to use the link in my bio or at the riseupmorningshow.com to jump into the Discord server we have created totally exclusively for the show to be the hub of our community. We've already got, in just the first 2 days, about 120 people in there, 124 people now. Very exciting. And we've made it the simplest, easiest Discord to navigate. If you're overwhelmed by Discord, don't worry. We've got a really simple layout. Lots of resources to help you understand it, get up to speed with it, and help you out. But it's in there. It's the first thing posted in the general chat. And generally speaking, if you've got a question, ask it here on TikTok, but I've also got my eyes on the general chat. So you can ask your questions there if you need to type something that's a little bit longer. And of course, if you haven't already, you want to get abreast of this stuff, then tune in regularly. We're here 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, Central Standard Time, 7 a.m. And we publish once weekly newsletter, the briefest bullets from our show, a week in review, anything we've covered that's essential to know with links to clips from the show, that goes there because not everybody has time to tune into a live show 4 times a week. So enough of that. You didn't come here for my commercial. You came here to hear about crypto. So leave me your questions in the comments. I promise we'll get to them. Alex is going to be here in 5 to 10 minutes. He's doing some family stuff. I'm going to give you the overview, the nitty gritty on what the heck happened to this ETF. So stay with me. Jim, you ready? God bless you for staying up, man. All right, so like I said, this is coming from Unchained Crypto's most recent episode. They started a new series called Bits and Bips that kind of marries the micro and the macro when it comes to crypto economics. And this is an episode with James Seifert, who works at Bloomberg, specifically focusing on ETFs. He works with Eric Balchunas, who is generally considered one of the leading financial analysts and reporters on ETFs broadly. Alex Kruger and Joe McCann, two popular traders, hedge fund managers, crypto OGs, are also on this episode. And based on what happened, all three of them surmised that this is a big reversal. First of all, to know. Anybody, if you're not caught up to crypto news, or maybe you just haven't been lately, the ETH ETF approval that we got yesterday is a huge surprise, a huge reversal. James and Eric, whose job it is to read the pulse on this and publish a sort of how likely, what are the odds this is going to happen. They had the odds as low as 25%, 10% in the last couple of days. They got news that the SEC's Division of Markets and Trading had sent 19 B4s, which is a next steps document. Every ETF that gets approved often goes through several changes. And one of the divisions of the SEC governs a form called the 19B4, which indicates that, hey, you filed for an ETF, we want to see some changes. Here's what they are. That's the Form 19B4. You might think it's a bad thing because you're like, oh no, our ETF needs some changes. But no, it's a delicate financial instrument. This is a super bullish signal. For comparison, the Bitcoin ETF was getting revision requests for the 19B4s and the other document the SEC has approvals for, the S1, as early as October last year. They were approved at the start of this year, okay? So this was a dialogue that had been happening. And even that we felt like was really unprecedented. So the request for changes 2 days ahead of the deadline, which is my birthday, tomorrow, it was nuts. James commented that he was on Capitol Hill last week talking to lawmakers, and that almost all of them he talked to thought this thing has no chance of being approved. In fact, he even speculated that there were likely people at the SEC either drafting or who had completed denial letters. Because, every time they make a decision, they write a letter about it. So the fact that they were sending these 19B4s, that caught their attention. They bumped their numbers up. And this is sorry, I'm just checking up on my notes here. So I've said it's unprecedented. They had the denial letters drafted. The question now is why? The question is what happens now and why? Because the ETFs got approved. Not only did they find out it was more likely, but they got approved. And let me take a brief pause to say, God bless you, Web3 Jim, for 2,000 taps. If you want to help Jim out at this interim in the story, go ahead and tap the screen so he doesn't have to. God bless you. It does. I keep saying God bless you. We're not a religious show here. It's just a saying. It's the easiest, simplest way you can help the show right now is to give the screen a tap as we talk about ETH ETFs. I do see Alex is here. And I do see you have a question about, is there one crypto better to invest in than another? I promise, Pirate Grandin, I will get to that. I want to finish this story, and the teaser I will give you is saying the best crypto to invest in is the one that's best for you. Crypto investments are no one-size-fits-all thing. Instruments like ETFs will help many people who haven't previously had the ability to invest do so with perhaps less risk of some kinds. But all assets of any kind are risky. They can be volatile, especially in crypto. And generally speaking, a lack of understanding is not helpful in investing. So the most important thing you can do to answer that question for yourself is to spend time in conversations like this one, learning what different crypto assets represent, what cryptocurrency is in terms of money and beyond, and then developing conviction for yourself. Because as you learn about this stuff, it's tempting to ask a question like that. It's not a bad question, but you will learn. It's tough. It's like drinking from a fire hose. You will learn different, better questions to ask in the sense of which will give you more information to develop conviction. Because the tokens I would invest in are very, very different than the tokens I would ever invite anyone else to start learning about, for a variety of reasons. I'm in this. I work here. It's really easy for me to do crypto things and move stuff around and understand what this or that is. And what's a good investment for me, therefore, is probably not the same kind of thing I would say to my dad, hey, you should start learning about this in order to understand what crypto is and why it matters. Does that make sense? Let me know. And let me tell you more about this ETF, okay? Because we got to talk about, now that it's been approved, are we just going to get it? No. The 19B4s, that request for comment, that's what kicked off this flurry at the start of this week. And that's a good back and forth between one division of the SEC. But the SEC has a whole nother form, the S1, that all these ETF filers submit. And they haven't even given feedback on those yet. So that this ETF has been approved without that feedback, first of all, it points to there's probably stuff happening on Capitol Hill. We'll get to that. But it means that there is likely going to be a fair amount of back and forth. The SEC is not just one entity, it's got divisions. The Division of Trading and Markets is in charge of this 19B4 form. The Division of Corporate Finance is in charge of this S1 form. They also have to do a lot of back and forth with filers like Van Eck before people like you and me are going to get our hedge fund managers to sell this product to us. So why? Why now? Especially when people like James Seifert, Eric Balchunas, every congressperson on Capitol Hill is saying, this is not going to happen, this is not going to happen. Every person on this episode of the show pointed to the Trump effect. And James Seifert, whose job it is to talk to Congress people about this stuff, said that after last week's SAB 21 vote, after Trump came all out in favor of cryptocurrency, after he hosted an NFT dinner, my God, that there was so much pressure on the Biden administration to do something, that it likely was a change that came from pressure because it happened so quickly at the very top. One of the stats that was dropped in this episode that I did not know, that I would encourage you to verify because it probably came from a crypto-biased investment firm, was that there are 160 million voting-aged Americans, and 40 million of them hold crypto. The third largest PAC, Political Action, in Washington, D.C. lobbying group is a crypto PAC. And so while not a lot of people are probably like single issue crypto voters, it's probably not as close to their heart as something like a more divisive issue. Am I allowed to say, when you terminate the life of a fetus? Like, that's a pretty divisive issue. It's a single issue for a lot of people. The border, those kind of things. But crypto increasingly is becoming a single issue that voters will move on. Hey, Crypto TikToks. We're just catching up on the ETH ETF. Alex, welcome. I had one more sort of thing to say on this. Is that cool? About price and markets, because everyone wants to know what's this going to do to the price of Ethereum. And then I want to ask for your feedback and opinion on all of it. So after listening to this, and we were talking about this in the Situation Room, what's the ETF going to do to the price of Ethereum, of Ether? But after listening to this podcast, I kind of changed my mind. I thought after the big week ETH had that maybe this pending approval was priced in. It's likely that people on the inside had some knowledge of what was about to happen, and institutions were moving the price of ETH up. One of the data points they point to is something called the Coinbase Premium. There is a fee on Coinbase to buy or sell cryptocurrencies on their platform versus other platforms. And institutional investors are buying their crypto through Coinbase because Coinbase meets all the regulatory requirements. They're not using Binance. They're not using Uniswap. Yesterday and days before, the ETH premium was the highest it had been in years. And all three of these analysts said they felt that the market had not, one, priced in an approval, since most people thought it was going to be denied, and two, that they were reacting, but that there was still going to be a lot of catch up. Eric projected that ETH ETF volume would probably be something like 15 to 20% of Bitcoin's ETF volume. But all three of these analysts gave compelling reasons for why they thought the narrative was sexy enough that we might even see all-time highs for ETH in the year ahead. Especially once the ETF comes to market and is publicly tradable. So everyone wanted to know, is it a buy the rumor, sell the news? I am kind of compelled by the arguments they made that this approval was just not priced in, that it's super bullish news for the market. And I'm personally very interested to see what kind of volatility happens and where it takes us as the ETF fumbles and bumbles around before it actually makes it to light, though it is coming. So what do you think, Alex? What do you think? And then I'll catch up on some comments and we'll answer some other questions. We got the ETF, man.
So yeah, I caught the tail end of your talk. So you were talking about someone was talking to people on the Hill about
this is James Seifert. His boss is Eric Balchunas. They both work at Bloomberg and are probably, like, more than any other person whose job it is to study this kind of stuff, they're the crypto ETF dudes, like the ones we would go to say you're probably closest to it as journalists.
And so their assessment of this all was that seems unlikely, but probably being done in pressure.
Absolutely. They said as early as last week, they were on Capitol Hill ahead of the SAB 21 vote. And almost everyone they spoke to, there was a blockchain conference there, and people were talking about the ETF. Almost every policymaker they spoke to said it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. People at the SEC said it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen as in SAB 121 or the ETH ETF?
Sorry, the ETH ETF. It's going to be denied. Not going to happen. Persona non grata. And at the time of this recording, they were reacting not to the approval. They were reacting to the 19B4 request for comment. And they were, when they published the episode, it's weird. They recorded the episode after the 19B4. They published the episode after the approval. It was planned to go out on Thursday, but they were like, well, we got the ETF, so here's your episode kind of thing. And all of them were saying after the 19B4 that though it hasn't happened, like, I don't know, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. This wouldn't happen if it wasn't going to happen kind of thing. And the only reason they would do this, he said it's so late compared to the Bitcoin ETF when they were doing these kind of back and forth requests for comments as early as October. It was so late that it had likely already been drafted. Hester or somebody probably had a letter ready to go about why. Only pressure from the top was their conclusion that could have brought this kind of thing.
I feel like I'm missing something in what you're saying. Because you say after the ETF. The ETH ETFs are not approved unless I'm in a coma right now.
Yeah,
What? Evan, help me. Just spell it out.
They're approved, brother.
What do you mean they're approved? We have SEC approved ETH. Why is there not a single headline about that?
It is pending, but they're getting approved. And Van Eck specifically, hold tight.
Because everything I'm seeing is, SEC leans toward approving, leaning toward approval.
Yeah,
that's all.
The Van Eck Spot Ether ETF listed by the DTCC.
Oh, here's pending approval. So this is 22 hours ago. Why the hell did I not hear this last night?
So essentially the state it's in right now. I'm gonna read you exactly what this says because this is we're reporting on this here. I'm reporting on this. This is really just so it has been listed by the Depository Trust and Clearing Corporation. It is inactive. It has been listed pending approval. And here's what I understand it to mean. It still needs to receive, they still have to do, there's the 19B4 and the S1.
Yeah.
But it's a manner of processing now. It's like when you upload a video to YouTube and it's uploaded, but it's not processed yet. So nobody can go watch it on YouTube, but it's in there. It's like that's where we are.
Okay.
So maybe approval is even the wrong word to use, but it's happening. Van Eck is for sure getting an Ether ETF, and others are going to get it too. The thing we are waiting on largely is the other division of the SEC has not even submitted, begun the, here are the changes we need to see process.
Okay. I thought I was going insane. I was like, okay.
No, I'm glad you said it though, because, I want to communicate it clearly to everybody. But we're getting an ETF.
Okay, yeah.
So Thomas said, Evan said so. That's all we need to hear. I like you, Thomas. Robbie, you said you're still confused. Okay, so listen, a lot of people are coming in, maybe after the fact. Let me help you catch up. I gave you a lot. It's hard on a TikTok live when you're not looking at notes with me, when you're hearing it from a secondary source. So if you're like Alex and you got those questions, let us know. But does it make sense now, more or less, Alex?
Yeah, I'm just, do you want to drop just into the general chat, that specific article because I know what I saw that you're referring to, the fact that inactive things have been listed on a couple specific places.
Yeah, here you go. Right below the Unchained episode, and by the way, this show is not sponsored by Unchained. It probably couldn't be because I don't think they're in the business of sponsoring other shows, but my God, They're the best podcast in crypto. They have the most timely topics, the most relevant guests. I mean, I don't know how the hell they got these three guys into a room and were like, hey, do you want to record a podcast? Literally as this stuff is happening. And then they did it a couple days ago with Eric Balchunas. And they consistently just do that. Like, what is the most timely topic in the crypto space? And they're like, hey, do you want to talk about it on our show? And people say yes every time. Blows my mind.
Okay, gotcha.
So go listen to this episode and go listen to them all the time anyway. But yes, this is the Coin Telegraph article.
Yeah, I think if anything, I mean, not to get like off topic or anything, but if this shows me anything, it's just that like so few things that come out of Washington have anything to do with like adults debating, rational, logical pros and cons, and then arriving at a decision based on what their constituents have asked them for and what they determine to be in the best interest of the country. And so much to do with like, oh shit, what's going to give me the highest likelihood of keeping my job, or
right.
Dude, which isn't that crazy? Like, if you want, like, because for a long time I was not in the camp of like your vote doesn't matter. I was like, no, of course your vote matters. Get out there and vote. And I do still say like everyone should vote, because if everybody voted, like it would get to a threshold where you couldn't ignore it. And we've seen elections decided with various tiny little margins and stuff before. But isn't it wild how Congress's driving interest in everything they do is how do I keep my job? Yeah. And yet the number one metric that they do not care about is what the will of their constituents is, because they know they're going to get elected regardless of whether or not they make all of their constituents unhappy. That's crazy to me. Like that really that paints a picture more than anything else anyone wants to know about. How much does your vote matter? Well, your congressperson doesn't give a shit what you want. What does that tell you?
Sorry, pal.
They want to keep their job. They don't care what you want. What does that tell you?
Well, and the SAB vote is a big reflection of that too. So for people who don't know, this is like boring. I won't get into it, but basically there's a policy that they're voting on that would make it illegal for your banks. Your banks would have to, anytime they offered you a digital asset, they'd have to put it on their balance sheet, and they don't right now. Go ahead.
I was going to say, to be clear, they're not allowed to. The vote was to scrap that. 121 was to get rid of that regulation, that prevention.
Yeah. Thank you for clarifying. It's a costly thing. Banks don't want it. It makes it hard for them to make money. And so as a result, because money is, it's our incentive, the incentive, there was tremendous political pressure. And not only did a bunch of Republicans vote to strike it down, but many key Democrats in big time battleground states, including Chuck Schumer, voted in solidarity with Republicans, essentially making this like a filibuster proof, maybe not veto proof, but more or less sending a strong message that like this is how it's going to be.
And it was a posturing thing too, because the Senate held that vote after Biden already said he would veto it if it made it to his desk. So either they just wanted to put their name on record as being in support of it because they wanted their constituents to know that and reflect that in the polls next time, as put up a fight because Biden is aggressively losing popularity, or the Senate has a plan to ex-nay his veto, because it is possible. It takes a lot, but it is possible.
Yeah, and honestly, I think he's going to, after the ETF thing, I think he's not going to veto it. I think we're going to see a significant policy change. Maybe they're not going to come out and be like, hey, crypto's great. But absolutely, I would bet money that on the debate stage, when crypto comes up, Joe Biden is going to say, I gave you the Ether ETF. I absolutely bet.
So that's what I've been wondering myself too. And, granted, this is a topic that could be taken elsewhere, but I say this within the context of, will Biden veto this, or will Biden, try to stand in the way of the ETH ETF or something, like will something 11th hour happen or whatever.
Yeah.
And you try to look at like, other things happening that will impact, his chances of success in the upcoming election. And it's interesting because he's doing like a couple specific things that really hurt him with the younger demographic, which is his like champion demographic, or
Yeah,
has
big
been
time.
historically. And then, sorry, I almost lost my train of thought. But so with the like, I'm talking about the TikTok, the TikTok bill, an extremely unpopular foreign aid bill. I'm talking
Yeah.
about his continued double down in the face of the ICC and the UN analysis and opinion of the Israel-Palestine conflict as it stands today. Like all of these things, he's been consistently on the opposite side of from his most vocal base, which is very interesting tactic to take right before the election, and makes you think a little bit deeper about all the other stuff. And so then it really just like, Iron Man, this is not the place, my friend. Anyway, and then it just kind of makes you wonder about like the crypto stuff. Okay, where is this going to go? What direction is this going to go? Because is he in full blown like screw the base mode? Because this is an issue that's very important to like you pointed out, a large section of the base. Or not? We're going to keep. Are we gonna flip and try to pocket a win? Are we realizing that we have overstepped and maybe there's too much super PAC pressure, on the Israel side, because we know how big AIPAC's influence is in Washington. That's just a fact. That's undeniable.
Mm-hmm.
Or some other big lobbies. I'm sure there's so many lobbies that are putting pressure on politicians.
Did you hear what I said about the crypto lobby? That the
Yeah.
PAC, crypto PAC is the third largest.
That's very interesting. I did not know that.
It's over $100 million in size, which makes it the third largest. And that's going to have significant influence thanks to our friends at A16Z and Coinbase, et cetera, et cetera.
That's very
I'm obviously not a fan of the system and the way things go, but like I don't know. I'm glad if it's going to be a terrible bloodbath and suck, that at least we got a soldier in there who cares about one of the things that matter to me. I don't know. Alex, can we take a brief sideline to explain the idea of a security? We had a really good question. What makes a token? What is a security? When people say a token is a security,
Sure.
and then also we should answer the question: how did you guys go from unknowing this stuff to knowing what you're talking about and seeing? I just love the way that question is worded. So let's hit those questions.
I've read that question 3 times, and help rephrase it for me, because I have no idea what you're asking me.
At one point in time, Alex, you and I knew none of the stuff that we're just batting back and forth about now so fluently.
Oh.
And it doesn't mean that we know it, the way that a scholar might know a text, but it means we are versed enough in it to talk easily. We're playing baseball now. We know the game. We can catch the pitches. We can talk the slang. How did we go from hello, fellow kids, to cricket?
Gotcha.
That's
Okay.
what
All right.
but let's tell them what a security is first, because that's
an easy one.
that's a good one.
Yep.
I have really quick the definition of a security versus a commodity, and then I want you to tell them about the Howey test. Sound good?
Yep.
All right, so here's my baseball. I'm going to hit it to Alex by saying these are both financial instruments. A security is one that represents an ownership position. Or I should say they're not both financial instruments. They're financial definitions. A security is a financial instrument. It represents an ownership position in something, a creditor relationship, rights to ownership, a stock, a bond, an option. When you own Apple stock, what you own is like the right to claim a piece of this idea, that company. These are regulated by bodies like the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission in the United States, and typically are investment vehicles that investors use to earn dividends. I buy it, it makes me money. A commodity is like a good, a thing that is used in commerce and is interchangeable with other goods of the same type. So like gold is a commodity. Every ounce of gold is, different, but it's essentially, in terms of markets, the same. Oil is this way. bushels of wheat are commodities. These are usually regulated by the CFTC in the United States. Mostly they're for production, consumption, copper, silicon, things like that. Prices are driven by supply and demand. So TLDR, securities are investment vehicles. Commodities are often tangible goods used in everyday stuff. Now, I want Alex to tell you about the law that people use to determine whether or not something is a security, and why in crypto specifically, there's so much question about, like, is a token a security? What do you think?
Yeah, so there's essentially 4 questions that you need to ask yourself about a thing to determine whether or not it's a security, and this is based on something called the Howey test, which has been used. I don't remember the year that it started off the top of my head.
30s.
30s, okay. Originally, I believe, was brought into being because of oranges, because of buying shares or stocks, or a part ownership share in orange groves. And so put a pin in that. That's not important right now. Imagine you're buying a thing. So I buy this mug from Evan. I have to ask myself 4 questions. 1, did I buy it with my own money? 2, are other people also buying mugs from Evan with their own money? 3, do we all, the buyers, have the expectation, because of the way Evan has marketed this to us or advertised it to us, or sold it, or how he's describing it, what he's talking about, do we all, the buyers, have the expectation that Evan is going to start doing work to make our mugs more valuable? So we can just sit here and watch Evan work and our mugs will go up. And 4, do we have the expectation that our mugs will become more valuable and worth more than we bought them for, based on Evan's work?
Mm-hmm.
And if you listen to those questions and you think, holy shit, that sounds like every cryptocurrency I've ever heard, you would be correct. Pretty much all of them are securities. Especially meme coins launched by influencers. Okay?
We got there quick today.
Especially meme coins launched by influencers, because you all buy them because of the thing that influencer told you. You all expect them to deliver you a roadmap that you will then get to profit from, because now your tokens will be worth more. We just failed the Howey test on all 4 prongs, and it took me 15 seconds to figure that out.
And all I had to do was show the judge your TikTok video.
And I would call my understanding of securities law and the Howey test rudimentary at best. I would call it the result of less than 10 hours of reading. I don't care, Ampro. Sorry, that sounded harsh. It doesn't matter. Either way. Taken over by an influencer, whatever. Cryptos actually get around one of the protections that a physical good might have if trying to be called a security or not. And that is that if they buy a lot of it, they are technically selling it to you, even if they did not create it, or if they do not hold the original allocation of supply, because they're selling you a thing. So even if Evan's grandma made him 100 hats, and then Evan took all of those hats and sold all of them to his friends, and then told them all that grandma's going to make a bunch more stuff and deliver you the ultimate roadmap for these hats, and their hats are going to be worth more. Evan is just leveraging his grandmother as the labor force of the security he's selling to all of us, which is exploitive. Is it exploitive or exploitative?
Actually, both are acceptable.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I believe exploitative was first, but exploitive has come into common colloquial use. It might even be in the Webster Dictionary. You might even be able to play it in Scrabble. Let me see.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's one of those that every time I come across saying it, I'm like, go look it up, you idiot. And then I don't. Yep. And then I just
it is
roll through life not knowing.
Google will ask you, did you mean exploitative? But it's in many English dictionaries, exploitive as an acceptable word.
Gotcha. Okay. So anyway, There we go. That's a security.
That was brilliant. Okay, so let me take it back to all the why question, which is like, okay, why are we having such trouble right now? Like, what makes a token a security? People are actively, the most important lawsuits happening around crypto, maybe not the most, but many of the most important lawsuits happening around crypto are around trying to get some clarity on what, in the context of crypto, which can be so much more than money, though mostly it's this speculative crap, as Alex said. What constitutes an investment contract? When Coinbase, which exists as an organization to facilitate the buy or sale of many different kinds of cryptocurrencies and allows you to access a wallet, which really is your interface to funds they custody for you, is that an investment contract? Because you have the right to do whatever you want with those assets, but is them offering that right privilege to you a violation of a securities law? We don't know. What about Uniswap? Is it right for a company to create a code interface that allows you to take one piece of data, which may or may not be financial, and turn it into another, sometimes facilitated by dollar bills that they or their customers may own? Is that an investment contract? And if so, are people buying crypto tokens with the idea that they might go up in value on an exchange? Is that exchange breaking the law? Well, wait, if they're breaking the law, is eBay breaking the law when they sell you Nike shoes because you're a collector, or Beanie Babies?
So, two distinctions. This is why all four prongs, and I'm not like a firm supporter of the Howey test by any means. Like, I think there's room for improvement. I think that enough time has passed and enough things have happened that we need to update this thing. Okay. But that is why all four prongs matter, because there are a couple like little nuances there. Because yes, Evan might buy a pair of old Nikes from eBay with the pure expectation that Nike is that these shoes are going to be worth more because they're already a collector's item, whatever. However, there's a couple just specific little tiny pieces, and it's kind of like, profit expectation. Yes, one could make the case that exists. And for the record, there are people who believe that like Pokemon should be counted and traded like securities. There are people who believe that. I've definitely bought a couple of my like specific Magic cards that I've got slapped that like I bought them because they're worth a lot. They're worth more now than they were before, and I'm keeping them because I think they're going to be worth more later. Are other people buying the shoe? One could say, yes, there are lots of other shoe collectors. You bought it with your own money? Yes. Are you expecting, though, like, is eBay selling you that shoe by telling you that they are going to work to make the shoe more valuable? No, they're not.
No, but I'll tell you what, the lawsuits in crypto right now, especially like the Uniswap one, is not even that far. It's saying, is eBay even offering a thing which we think might be something people are speculating on illegal? Like that's the question at stake, really, truly. It's not about their intention. It's about the act of it at all. Which is why, frankly, I think it's so ludicrous, and why the SEC is just going to get out of court. And Daniel says in the comments, crypto launched by a project is a security. It's really hard for it not to be. There are some pretty clear guidelines, but where that starts to get muddy is in their inability to give us clarity on, for example, is it legal for a platform like Uniswap to offer a thing which may or may not be access to a thing, or code to access a thing? Listen, I swear to God, I'm not paid by Unchained, but honestly, again, the best hour of education I've heard on this comes from the Unchained podcast. There's an episode with Jake Chervinsky, who is the chief legal officer at Variant and has previously participated in a lot of good legislation in our crypto. And he gives a very succinct summary of the Consensus lawsuit, the Uniswap lawsuit, the Coinbase lawsuit, a couple of others, and just basically talks about like, what is the law? What is the law in question? And then what are we trying to change? does the SEC, see it this way? It's riveting. And I just don't think law is riveting. It's fantastic. I highly recommend it. But that's the question, Alex, is like, not is the platform selling it as a security, positioning it that way, but is it even legal for them to offer a thing which other people might see as a security? It's a question about like what constitutes an investment contract.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I don't know that I'm like Alex, not a lawyer, shallow in this stuff. But that's why I say if you listen to that episode, I'll post that too. I'm going to post it in the chat.
Okay.
It's worth a listen of your time and your time too, my friends. But you should listen to it.
Red, real quick. If it passes and the president doesn't veto it, then yes, in my opinion, 121 will start to or help erode the stranglehold on the industry that the SEC has, because there's a lot of people in Congress who believe that the whole thing should be regulated by the CFTC instead of the SEC.
Machiste, I saw it on Unchained. Unchained, search just Jake Chervinsky. It's probably like, I don't know, like 10 episodes back. It's from about a month and a half ago. I'm gonna put it in the Discord, brother. So just head there. I'll put it in general chat. If you're in the Discord, let me say again, by the way, and you want to keep up with those links, or you want to ask a question that goes like beyond the TikTok character limits, I got my eyes in the general chat. I know Alex does too. That's the best place to do it. And if you're not in the Discord yet, what are you doing? We made a Discord solely for the show to make it simple to navigate, easy to talk to us, ask us your questions, tap my face, tap his face, or go to the riseupmorningshow.com to join for free. Totally great. Let me post this link right now. I know you're getting caught up on some of the questions. Take it away.
Yeah, so take it easy. I'm trying to pry out of you like what it is about it that's interesting to you, because it's just a meme. There's nothing remarkable about it at all.
Where does
it's on it. It's called Solnick. It's a meme.
Oh yeah, they posted about it a couple times. Did they disclose? Are they part of the team or paid to advertise it? I was just curious.
Said they're not a team. No, and I respect that, and I'll happily give you my opinion on it. It's not anything to write home about. I'm just curious. Like whenever I find someone who, Rick, can you tell me how to find whatever the video is? Because I would love to see it. That's one of the things I'm trying to like gather more information about. Rick is talking about the whole Polkadot hosting TikTok infrastructure thing theoretically that I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around as how it could be possible, because there's billions of users. But so take it easy. Like if you look at this thing, right? Where'd it go? There it is. So first of all, it's like since the beginning of May, it's exclusively been going up. So that makes me nervous. Especially since it has a history of humongous spikes. Like it did that once back in February, and then it basically just went down for months and months and months and months. And everybody lost money. So now it's going up. But like it's a meme. It seems to be a meme that like, has a decent-ish market cap. It's got some locked liquidity. It's got like a relatable character. Like it checks boxes of, a meme doing meme things for meme reasons, whatever. I'm just trying to figure out from you, like, was there something specific about it? Do you just like really vibe with the meme? Is there like community friendly that you've been hanging out with? Is there like, what was the,
They
what
had
was the
said
sauce?
chart, community, and research in an earlier comment, but I had the same question. What does that mean?
Yeah, because the chart, meme charts are meme charts. You can't really learn anything except for, has it pumped already? And I guess like, I feel like I've done all the research I can on it in 30 seconds. Is it a meme? Yes. Is it memeing? Yes.
Have you sniffed it? We've looked at this one before. I just don't remember it. Isn't it Sonic?
Yeah.
Like
I've
themed?
definitely looked at it before. Yeah.
This is the one that's Sonic themed. I remember now. And
Yes.
actually, I love their website. Their website went a little hard. Like they definitely didn't need to do that much, but they've got like a kind of a side scroller classic pixel video game. So it's memeing for sure. It's memeing. I have no idea what the tokenomics are. I have no idea. It seems like it's not a scam. I hadn't sniffed it. As far as I went was the chart and the website before I said, I think I remember my take was it's too big for me. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I like those baby memes that are either going to go up, 10,000%, or they're just
Yeah.
totally going to rug you.
So my final opinion on it, in answer to your last question there, compared to other memes, is it a safe play? I will never describe a single meme on earth as a safe play, no matter what I'm comparing it to. You could say that meme A is safer than meme B, which we know to be a honeypot, for example. But that's just like saying, yes, technically it's safer to juggle butcher knives than it is to juggle running chainsaws. It is not implying that either one of them is a good idea. So just as long as you walk to the table and you understand what you're sitting down to do, which is probably lose money.
What is YCAF? I'm sorry.
Huh? I have no idea. Anyway, just look at it that way. Like if you can buy it and you can sell it and you're able to take profits, then go to town and don't be scared to sell. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah. Yeah, the important thing is, do you have conviction? That's all you got to think about. Take it easy. We want you. And I've seen a take it easy, which I love the username, by the way. Hey, take it easy. In the chat a few times. So that's the number one thing I would say to you is, how can you get conviction about it? Somebody asked us, and I said it was a good question. How do we come to know all the stuff we know? Mostly by just spending time asking questions, sharing, stuff that was interesting to us, and then hearing other people kind of discuss it with us, ask us questions back, like Alex is doing for you. Like, what about this community appeals to you? Is it because, like I said, their website is cute? Is it because, if the only reason is, I don't know, someone told me it's going to make me money, it's just so hard to build conviction around that. If Alex came to me, a trusted friend that I know has done, I know Alex personally. We have worked together. We've spent a lot of crypto time together. If Alex came to me and his only reason was like, this is going to make you money, I might say, okay, bro, here's $10. Because, but that's because we have a special relationship. Anybody else, and even Alex, my second question would be, why? Why do you think that? And then he would tell me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or you need to go check out Warpcast. Why? Here's why.
Yeah. And my final, so you meant Wyckoff. Don't TA memes. It doesn't work. There's no, you simply cannot apply charting patterns and strategies to a meme. The thing is like a couple months, it's like 6 months old. Like nothing that is analyzable has happened. The only thing you can really do with a meme's chart comfortably is track volume, how much money people are spending, and start to put patterns together. But it takes years to establish a pattern. I would even say, in crypto, tokens like big projects that have been trading for a year, I would not trust. I don't really trust TA anyway. I think my hot take is that I think TA is a self-fulfilling prophecy. Enough people believe that they see a pattern in the chart, and then the chart does what they all expect it to do because of the pattern they think they see. And it only works until it doesn't work, and there's nothing stopping it from not working. So I don't put really any faith in TA. However, I would be dumb to say that I do not know people who know TA do well. But I think that's because of self-fulfilling prophecies. Anyway, just don't apply TA to memes. You hit it. You hit it on the head, honestly, in one of your previous comments. Take it easy about analyzing a meme. Put a finger on the pulse of the community and see what the vibe is, and if people are just like having fun and having a good time, and it's like it's cool, it's whatever, it's groovy, cool, go for it. If you've done the little bit of experimentation and you sniffed it, and you've determined that like you can sell some, it's not a honeypot. Contract is renounced, liquidity is locked, or it's burned. It doesn't have to be locked; it could also be burned. And that was one of the things that I learned from that I didn't put together in my head from that video about the Moonbase thing. Was that sometimes Deck Screener will not show the padlock, and it can't it won't determine, and for some reason Dex Screener doesn't have a display metric to show you that liquidity is confirmed burned. They only have confirmed lock. So just for whatever it's worth.
Okay, Alex, we have a couple of things coming in. The first thing I want to draw your attention to is Rick, thank you, posted a link to an all-in crypto video about TikTok might end up running on Polka dot. This is a terrible headline. Whoever writes this title for all in, call me because not user friendly. Say it 5 times fast. And then we also had a request to talk a little more about DeSci. Do we think it could be a valid narrative somewhere in the future? Does blockchain add actual value to it? And there was one more question here that was extra delicious that I wanted to look into. Was the crypto chaos meme coin a rug pull? Just because I love hearing Alex get about creator tokens. I have to rug you. Alex sent me a video. Alex sent me a video last night about a creator that is breaking the law, who should know better by now, and the tag was, "Yep, he learned." What did you say? "Yep, he learned his lesson," on a video that was the clearest sign of desperation I've ever seen. You know, like when the Titanic is going down, and there's that dog in the house that's on fire, and he's like, "It's fine." It was the biggest "I'm fine" signal I've ever seen. I might accidentally post it. I might create a fake account and post it in our Discord so I don't have to feel petty about it. But oh my God, it was so funny. Did you see the one I responded to you with? The next one he did? I at least appreciate that Crypto Chaos, if he goes to jail, is going to ride that horse the whole way of like, fuck it. I love Luis. I love the character he plays. I have accepted, that is who it is. It's what it purports to be. Like you always say, you just want clear disclosure on stuff.
No, listen,
doesn't get any clearer than that.
I could say that, and then someone like Chaos, and any day of the week I would have this conversation with him. He drops in here from time to time.
Yeah.
But he might be like, really leaning into the satirical nature of his character and whatever. And he might be comfortable, like paying a fine or going to jail or whatever for the
lulz,
for the gram. And that's all fine. But like the thing that people like him either don't care about or don't realize that upsets me is that they refuse to acknowledge publicly that the casual viewer who doesn't know sees the thing they're putting out, and you're not just putting yourself at risk of like paying a fine or going to jail. You're putting anyone who casually watches your content at risk of just losing money because they don't know any better. And it's easy to square by saying, well, that's their fault. They're dumb. They should have known better. To be like, no, you can't. No, don't be fucking dense and have a heart, you dick. So it's just, I don't know. Yeah. I have such a hard time. Like, if you knowingly put out something that could, if taken the wrong way or taken without proper context, because not everyone sees your shit. You're not big enough. No one is big enough to where everyone who watches every one of your videos has seen all of your other videos. Just think about it. Think about it like an adult who has more than 3 brain cells kicking around in that noggin. Okay, pretend that the hamster wheel that's still spinning has a live hamster in it and that it's not laying dead in the corner. Just, I don't know. I have no respect for people that operate online like that, because
for the record, I feel the same way, but if I didn't laugh, I would cry. And I really appreciate what you say, because I think I get so, I'm self-absorbed like every living human being. It's hard to see outside and beyond yourself. And when I think about, that's why we do this show every single day. Somebody just asked in the comments, what's the best way to learn about crypto? Is it fine to do it free online or buy a course? And they're both bad options. I think, if you want to be honest about it, there are many good free resources, and there are probably many very good courses. But the average person, because of how the algorithms work and because of how people pay attention, is going to see that video. An influencer saying, buy this token, trust me, bro, you're going to get rich. and is going to make a bad financial decision because they've been advised by someone who has no business advising them. So
it's Tori, I would push back on that. Yes, money is stronger for some people who do know better, but there are plenty of people who okay, yeah, I've heard of this crypto thing. Let me open the internet. Oh, what's trending? This shitty video, but I have no context to know if this is a helpful video or not. All I know is that I've heard of a few people who made millions of dollars in crypto, and here's a guy with, oh my God, he's got 100,000 followers, and he says that this thing's going to go up. And you might be doing your best to figure it out, but it's complicated. There's a lot of information. The point of my angst with all of this is just to say, if you want to know whether or not I'm full of shit or not, me, Alex, the one telling you this right now, if I'm wrong, pick any one of these telegrams and go in there and look at the chat. That's all you have to do. Because it's not a bunch of people who are like, fuck it, guys, we might lose money, but let's take a gamble on it. It's like moms who are spending their grocery money on this pile of shit because this dumbass told them that they're going to do everything they can to make it go up and be a good buy for them. That's who's buying it. That's who you're fucking over. Okay? Desperate people who are living paycheck to paycheck and think crypto might be their salvation because they heard they can get rich quick and they don't have any financial education and they don't know what they don't know. That's who's buying influencer meme tokens. Okay? These people, the mom spending grocery money, or the dad's spending a kid's college fund to try to make the fund bigger by gambling it on a meme from an influencer, they're not buying Tremp or Solnick. Okay? They're not gambling on the big meme coins. They're buying an extremely specific one because an influencer that they like is behind it. That's why I hate them so much. And that's why I don't respect anyone who's ever launched one. And that's not a point that I'm willing to debate. If you launched it and you know that, or you choose to not know that, I do not respect you. And I'll say that to your face any day of the week.
Hear, hear. That's why I love you, Alex. Okay. Do you want to touch Polkadot first, or do you want to touch DeSci first?
Oh, I wanted to hit a question because it was really good. And Red just kind of mentioned it here. Red, thank you for reminding me. So someone asked, if I wanted to learn about X, Y, and Z, should I buy a course or should I learn it for free online?
Yeah. I wanted to touch that too. Go ahead.
Here's my 2 cents on it. Buy the course if you are able to get some sort of a preview or free sample and see kind of what the context of the course is. Courses are great. I have bought courses before. There are bad courses. There are good courses. Okay. So you got, just like you're buying a crypto, you got to do a little bit of due diligence on the course. You can always you can learn the stuff for free. Okay. The course that you choose to pay for should deliver it to you conveniently. That's what you're paying for. You're not paying for the information. You're paying for it to be conveniently packaged and handed to you. If I ever sell information from myself to someone, I always tell them, you can get this for free, but it's going to take you 6 weeks on average to go find all of the stuff and figure out what to search for and parse through the bad stuff and sort out the good stuff and, compare and contrast information from X, Y, and Z sources, whatever, and put all this together. You can absolutely do it. That's how I did it. But I'm going to sell to you the convenience of you not having to do it and you just intaking the information. 2 things are present there. 1, you acknowledge that the information in my course is probably biased because I'm selling it to you and I found it and I'm a human and I could have made an error. So remember that. But 2, just make sure, that you can get, if someone asks me hey, why should I pay for premium in this Discord? You should pay for premium if you want special dedicated attention from me and Evan to sit down with you one-on-one and go over the thing you want to learn about and walk you through our process and all that kind of stuff. You should not pay for premium if you're casually interested and you just want to start to look up stuff and whatever. And I forget, Evan, was I talking to Evan? Was I talking to you about this yesterday or not? Anyone who sells a course also needs to be aware that MIT OpenCourseWare is a YouTube channel where MIT posts all of their lectures for free.
Yeah.
So you got to have a real good, compelling reason to sell me education when MIT will let you go to MIT at your own schedule for free using YouTube to take lectures. Now, you do not get to ask the professor questions in that lecture. So that is what you pay for the course for. That's what you go to MIT for, so that you can sit in the room with the professor at MIT and ask them questions and go back and forth and steer the conversation where you're most interested, where you're confused. But if you're comfy, just take it for free. So that's kind of a long-winded way of saying, like, don't pay for the information, pay for the convenience, pay for the service of bundling it appropriately for you. But always make an effort to learn beforehand, so that you at least have some context for like what you're buying a course on.
And just for people who are like, okay, but where do I go? What do I learn? Here are like free, paid resources that I would start with, or that Alex and I have talked about before. The number one, and by the way, I'm going to say, and I'm biased here too, the number one resource that I can personally give you is to come to the show. We're here 4 days a week answering questions. Sign up for the newsletter, because if you can't come 4 days a week, it's the briefest, best bullets, all the links and stuff. Check out our YouTube page, where we create tutorials around this kind of stuff. It's a lot more focused. We have the streams that go up there, but that's, you're just watching our stream and you're like kind of clicking through it. What am I looking for? We also have a couple more focused videos that we will continue to add to over time on things like, how do I do my own research? What is a crypto wallet? How do I, that kind of stuff. And links to lots of others. We also have a Discord server where you can just do this with us and hang out. And you don't have to pay anything to do that. We do sell, and we'll continue to sell, different kinds of access or products or things through that Discord, which will deepen your access or enhance your experience by, all those ways that Alex said. Adding additional value. That will help us create more free value for other people too. But start totally for free right there, because that's going to get you connected to us. And then if you have another question, you're not going to be like, oh crap, where'd that guy go? Where'd that TikTok guy who was, helpful to learn about crypto? You'll be connected to us then. Okay? Tap our faces, find our links, follow us, or head to the riseupmorningshow.com. You can find it all there. And if it's new or confusing to you, don't worry, we can help. The number one free resource that we don't publish that I would recommend to you is coinbase.com/learn. Listen, we're good. We love it, but we don't have the bankroll Coinbase does. And they have put a significant amount of financial capital towards answering the question of, how do I learn about crypto? Yeah. They've got super resources in video format and writing. They've got podcasts you can listen to. And they really have it presented in what I think you would agree, Alex, is just a super helpful order. Like, it's tough to figure out what to learn first. You're like, what token do I buy? No. That's not the right question. Coinbase has the questions laid out in the order of discovery that would be helpful to a lot of everyday people like us. It assumes no technical experience. Coinbase.com/learn. And you can learn more advanced topics there too. But that's what I would recommend for a free, and also the MIT course Alex mentions. We can help you find other free resources, other paid resources, but I honestly would start there. And I absolutely, I had a follower the other day tell me they lost $28,000 in a scam. And Alex and I were talking because we're trying to figure out how to deliver value to people who can't pay, don't want to pay, and people who, want to hire us forever. Like, how do we meet all those needs? And one of the struggles we have is like, what's a good price that's like not cheap, but not prohibitive? What's a bargain? How do we scale what we do so many people can access it? And so we got a lot of solutions. But I remember thinking after I talked to that follower, I was like, Alex, because we were like, what should it cost for somebody to meet with us for like a precious hour of our time that we have to take away from other work? And he was like, well, I don't want it to be prohibitive, and I don't either. But I said, Alex, the truth is, for that follower of mine who lost $28,000 in a scam, we could have told them how to avoid like that. If they had paid us $27,999 for 15 minutes of our time, it would have been more valuable than the $28,000 they spent. Like, I'm not going to charge somebody $28,000 to meet with me for an hour, but what you are paying for matters. So join a free community like ours and ask people before you spend any money on a token, on a course, whatever. Yeah, we'll be glad to tell you what we think.
That's the best. I think that's probably the best use of the free side of the Discord, is like, you have a thing and you're like, I'm prepared to go full send on this. Get a second set of eyes in the general chat, okay? Because like Evan just said, before you bet the house on something that you're feeling good about, but you haven't gathered information from outside sources, because we might all be like, oh my God, that's an incredible opportunity. How can we all participate? Or someone's gonna be like, bro, that's like it's a scam, and here's how you can tell. So that's what the free side is. The second set, it's a group of hundreds of people with a second set of eyes for you.
Yeah, it doesn't just have to be me and Alex.
Yeah.
Lots of the people you see in the chat, you'll get to know them. They're helpful learners at all levels of experience, just like you. Some of them work here, some of them are just arriving, and we can all share what we know, ask for questions, learn and grow together. Nobody's going to try and sell you anything except maybe a premium membership and a badass coffee mug, or like a resource you can use, and you absolutely don't have to buy any of it. So come hang out with us.
I want to address really fast, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing. It's Naya or Naja Ellis said that cryptocurrency is the biggest scam. All we hear is who screws who. That's 100%. Like, at least that's like my main impetus for existence in the space here. Is like,
yeah, we agree.
Is like, yeah, the vast majority. The best way to describe crypto in like 1-2 sentences or less is like, it's an incredible piece of revolutionary technology that has the potential to change the world, that 99% of people using it for right now is to steal money from other people. It's the sad reality. It's the sad reality. Daniel is jaded and he likes to speak in what's the word I want here?
Fortune cookies?
No. Totality. It is not all scams, but the overwhelming majority of it is a scam. The overwhelming majority is a scam. You are more likely to get scammed than you are to not get scammed. It is the result. I've actually, this is a flex for sure. I have never been a victim of a scam in cryptocurrency. However, that is mostly because I am like hyper conservative, and I have also just chosen to not participate in tons of opportunities that ended up being great or cool or, would have been good or whatever. So I've made a lot less money because I usually just like find something that's happening, learn all about it, do nothing about it, and move on. But it has resulted in me never getting all the money I've lost in crypto. I have lost.
He lost the proper way.
All by myself. I have lost all by myself by just not selling when I should have.
Okay, can we, I have a hard stop in 20 minutes.
Yes.
Can we honor, I really want to honor Plike, who's here with us all the time.
Oh, yes.
I would like to talk about DeSci first, and then maybe that'll give us some time to look on the back end about this polka dot thing to see if it's new information or if it's some of the same stuff we've already heard. We love you, Plike. We love you all. We're grateful that you sit with us and let us unpack these ideas in long form. If you have a question we don't get to, that's the best place to go, is the Discord. Tap my face, tap his face. Find the links in our bio or at theriseupmorningshow.com. Head on in there to the general chat, and we're hanging out. So DeSci, decentralized science. It's a hip hop narrative you're hearing a lot about right now, especially on platforms like TikTok. What does it mean? It means bringing crypto philosophy to the realms of science. People pitch it to you as a needed thing because science is biased. Though it is an objective process, the scientific method, it has been muddied by people with personal perspectives. The person who is funding your scientific research, the person who is performing your research, the methods you use to store data related to your research. They live on one person's server. They live on a pencil and paper. There are many ways that cryptocurrency technology, beyond money, can change how we do science to make it better, to remove trust in some places, to enhance efficiency, security, shareability, transparency, all of which we can get into, and all of which I think has tremendous potential. But Alex, what's your take on the state of DeSci? Would you add anything to like crypto plus DeSci? And what do you think about like the tokens we are seeing or the projects we're seeing right now in this niche?
First of all, I want to just say to Wes, you've turned me into an instant pessimist when I'm researching projects, and I thank you. This is the way. I want to inspire all of you to be cynical about projects, because that is how you have to look at all of them.
Alex is like that meme where you're looking at yourself in the mirror, Kermit the Frog, and you're like, yes.
Yeah, no, this is the way, Wes. I am so happy to hear that because that is my mission. My mission is to make all of you skeptical and cynical about most of the space. Um, okay, Daniel, I swear to God, I'm gonna mute you because you're just here today to raise my blood pressure. That's what you're
I just
doing, right?
love it though. Every time he says something, it
I
makes me
love you
laugh.
so. I can
I wish it
picture
was on
him.
fortune cookies.
He's just sitting at his desk, like working, and every now and then he's like, "Oh yeah, this will piss him off," and he's
Every now and then he comes over to his phone and just just trolls you a little.
For
So what
anyone
do you
who's
think,
not
Eastside?
for anyone who's not aware, Daniel is a friend, and I love him dearly, and I have learned a tremendous amount from him. And he is the ultimate cynic in crypto. I am his Padawan in cynicism in crypto. Okay, DeSci. I think what I think about a number of niches in crypto about DeSci is that the impetus for the niche is really cool, and I think that crypto, by that I mean blockchain and using tokens, could really help the scientific research based community. I think that I could sit down and I could like write out a thesis statement about why it's cool. Most people are using it as a narrative to just raise money, and that's okay. But I would prefer that people like that use Kickstarter or Indiegogo or crowdfunding sources. They do not need to use a token because the token has implied, historically, in the way that all of this works, tokens typically have the implication of going up. That's kind of what we were talking about with the security stuff earlier. Dude, this little guy is really just, he's just,
Miller Wispy?
well, he's just, I keep looking at him. Okay, so there's a couple problems with like the scientific community, and we've talked about this. I'm not going to say it out loud because I'm so sick of getting the live flagged. But the recent health global event that consumed our lives for a while. One of the reasons that people were so skeptical about the arrival of the shot that helped is because of how quickly we arrived at it. And that's really due to a couple things. That's not the fault of anyone who analyzed that, because historically correct. Like, how did we get here so fast when it usually takes so long? A couple of reasons. One, because funding for scientific research is a nightmare and a marathon. And the reason that scientific research is often so slow is because scientists have to spend 95% of their time petitioning politicians to fund their research, and 5% of their time doing research. So one of the reasons that the shot for the thing happened so quickly is because the government just dump trucked money onto these people and were like, please, like as fast as you can right now. And they were like, oh, great. Well, we actually have some research that was already done. We have some stuff that was already put together. Like we can piggyback off this. We can combine this. We can combine that. We can all work together. We have unlimited money. Boom, it happened quick. Scam warning. You're not going to bait me into having a debate about that. My point is, this is why it happened quickly, because they got more money than they've ever received before. And that is part of it. If we took the same amount of money and carte blancheness that the government gave to the people developing that shot, and we gave that to all other areas of medical research, I would posit that we would see an unbelievable surge of progress faster than anyone can even begin to fathom. And that's because, like I said, these researchers are typically spending all of their time fundraising or waiting for budget approval. So that's why DeSci could be cool, because we should allow researchers and scientists and medical researchers, global climate researchers, whatever, pick the industry, pick the niche. You should allow them to write their thesis, present it to the world, crowdsource funding from people who care about finding a solution to that problem, and then track the money and track the progress of the scientific entity, get input and voting and consensus from all over the place to ensure that the individual researcher is not exercising personal bias in their furtherment of the research.
Plus, distribute, decentralize and computerize, tokenize the storage of data.
Yeah.
Get it off
Zigzag,
pencil and paper.
Zigzag. I love you, but I'm asking you nicely. Please remove your personal political opinion from this conversation, because this is the one time when I'm trying to talk about it and not inject any personal opinions. This is like objective rationale around the scientific process. If you care about stuff like that, and you care about like, okay, well, I'm concerned that this one person that I do not like for X, Y, and Z reasons is the one with his hand on the research. That's why using consensus mechanism to determine who's doing the research or who's executing the science. That's why I don't just want the one guy in it. I want this guy in it. I want these two, because I agree with this one and I don't agree with this one. I want them to be in a room together because that will make me feel better about the research results that I'm getting. So that's why DeSci is cool. That's why it could theoretically be cool. However, unfortunately, I think a lot of those tokens, right, they get sold to people with the same kind of securities type of mentality, right? You know, like I'm buying the DeSci token not because I want to fund the research that this particular firm is trying to do, but because I want to make money. Daniel, you son of a bitch. So anyway, that's what I think about DeSci. I think in a tiny little nutshell, after my ramble is over, it's a really cool idea, but I think most of them are just kind of using them to raise money. They're not really doing the thing, you know.
Wes has a really good comment that piggybacks on what you said, that legit projects shouldn't have to lobby for money or depend on a heavily scrutinized grant. One of the things that DeSci could hypothetically do is, bring something cryptographic like quadratic funding, where members of a network get to vote about this pool of money that is allocated for this funding, or at the very least get to see who the grantor is, how much they spent, what they've funded in the past. The kind of stuff that's kind of obscured from us and difficult to verify now is made really easy with blockchain. And I share that opinion. The only thing I would add, maybe somebody asked, where do you learn more about DeSci? I would say, generally speaking, I wouldn't pay attention to a lot of the stuff you see. A lot of the content you see around DeSci now is like, this DeSci company is going to change the game and do a 20x by the end of the year. That's not what you need. I would say, talk to scientists in order to ask them about the problems they face systemically. We had a great conversation. Was it Matt at NFT NYC? Alex, was that his name? Matt, the dad, the cancer researching dad who bought us beers in Times Square and told us about his, he had sort of like a kind of he was trying to learn about crypto, but he had a real vision for the kind of problems that crypto could solve for him as a scientific researcher. Talking to people like that, who are researchers, who have real problems, and learning to understand crypto beyond number go up, like get in a community where people are going to talk about quadratic funding or cryptographic enabled funding methods. I recommend that you would honestly hang out at the show, but not us resources. I would follow Unchained Crypto because they will absolutely be talking about it. I would get on Warpcast because people who are building actual protocols and like consumer products live there mostly, more than any other social I've ever been on. We have referral links in our bio. And then the other thing would be, I don't know, Alex, I don't know anybody who is talking about decentralized science specifically in a way that I personally feel is very helpful. Do you?
Nope, not a single one.
Yeah. And it, if somebody in the comments knows, please tell me. I just don't. I think most of them are talking about it. And let me be clear. If you are interested in speculating, gambling to make money in the short or medium term, then projects that use buzzwords like DeSci plus crypto, we have a DeSci token, or we're doing AI crypto, we have a token. Many of those projects, because they're efficiently marketing and capturing attention, and because people don't really at scale understand what those techs they don't understand it, they're just looking for a quick flip, will make money. It's very, very different. And so when you're asking us, the answer I'm giving you is like, it's probably the 2050 answer. But if you want to learn about DeSci in terms of what's trending in crypto, then I would follow someone like Joshua Jake. He's interested in that. Maybe that investor. But I would be absolutely very, very diligent. I would be clear with yourself. What you're doing at that point is speculating for the most part. Unless and until you see a community building and using a product, if the token has incentives that help them bring that product to market instead of just encourage people to speculate, that's what I'd be looking for. Let us know if that's helpful. Alex, do you have final thoughts on DeSci, or is there a good question in the comments, or should we bop over to Polkadot? Because then I've got to take my pony show on the road.
That's fine. Yeah, I would just echo what you said, that I don't know of a single, unfortunately, Josh is very focused on, niches that he wants to make money on, not necessarily niches that are going to further anything. Like, Josh's focus is investing for returns and determining return viability of something, or guessing about that. It's not. I would still say, not to shade, but I don't know of anyone who's like I'll prove it. I'm going to make a video later today because I haven't done the DeSci narrative one yet.
The DeSci deep dive.
Yeah, I did AI, RWA, might have done gaming. I don't remember. I'd have to look back at my playlist, but I want to do a DeSci one, and I'll talk about it kind of like we just did. It's not going to, I'll put it in the playlist so that I can reference it. But that's a video that I'm going to film, that I am going to post, that I'm very comfortable with the fact that it's going to get no views because it's boring as shit. Because it has nothing to do with how you make money doing it. It has everything to do with why does this niche exist? Yeah,
and I want to add to that. I would say, because there's some good comments, I like Josh, and I also like Patrick, that investor. But I agree with Alex that the way they talk about it, I think, reflects a lot of conviction without a tremendous amount of understanding. I can't see inside Patrick's brain specifically, but based on the conversations we've had, if you were to ask me, I would speculate, totally speculation here, that Patrick talks about it a lot because of the conversations he's had with Josh that have influenced him to see this as an opportunity to distinguish himself as a creator, to become the DeSci guy in order to build a brand new reputation, which is a very viable marketing strategy. It's very smart. I don't necessarily think that either of them is, though genuine and convicted, I don't think either of them are looking at DeSci in this kind of way. I think they're mostly looking at it in terms of, if I buy this token, will it go up in value based on the kind of promise this company is making? Patrick even told me he's advising a DeSci company. And when he told me more about the tokenomics, and I said to him, hey, brother, why are they, I'd asked him 5 or 6 questions about competing incentives and how they were ever going to, and he said, I really don't know. I don't think they've considered that. I'll have to ask them. Yeah. So to me, it reflects a naivety.
Yeah, Evan's being a little polite.
Polite.
Because at the end of the day, you've got people with large followings who are making a lot of content about something that they don't have a firm grasp on.
Yeah, and to be clear, Patrick has a degree in nutrition. He has some training and some expertise, but there is a distinction between having expertise and being an expert in a and we are not experts in this, but the fact that we have the awareness to distinguish that and say it to you clearly, I hope shows a depth. I'm not the guy, Alex isn't the guy, but at least we know it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
And if there's, if he's worked in a field, it's very different too than having a degree. I have a degree in criminal justice, but everything I know about the law, the court system, and law enforcement, I learned from working as a law enforcement officer for years.
Well, and think about Will. Will works in AI, but he works in AI sales and has a lot more expertise in, what's happening in that industry, but he's not, going to tell you how to build a language learning model from scratch in a YouTube video in 1 hour. That's not his expertise. So hopefully folks, understand the difference. And it's a red flag to me when people, especially people with a platform, don't either have the awareness or the care. It's like you said about creators launching meme tokens. Either they don't know better or they know better and they just don't care. Both of which, to me, it's like an orange flag and a red flag, not your teachers.
Yeah.
Polkadot. Is the
Yeah.
juice worth the squeeze? I had this video in the background and was doing some closed captioning, and it's a deep dive of Project Liberty, Frank McCourt's website. It seems like mostly a catch-up of some of the information you've already consumed. So do you want to rehash it for folks who haven't heard about it yet and give us your take?
And I haven't done any further research yet, but I'll start with this. And I want to talk to some developers because that's where I'm at. Time out. Gabby, the crypto network Discord, you can actually, I will, if you're in the free side of our Discord, I can someone who just canceled that subscription and they could tell you exactly what you can expect if you go in there. And it's buy signals. So it's people paying money in the hopes that one of the things that they bet on at his advice is going to make them money. It's not like education. So if that's what you want to pay for, that's what you want to pay for. But that's what it is.
And can I, since you timed out it, cap me at 30 seconds on this, but I'm going to tell you why you don't want to buy signals. If what you want is money, you want to be rich. If you want to be really, really rich, don't get buy signals, because buy signals are, I have been in this industry for 10 years. I am researching. And after I do the thing that will make me money, I might remember to tell you about it in a timely manner. You don't know shit. You're listening to me and watching for me. And then when I make a sell, what happens if I forget to tell you? And then the thing goes to zero, or you don't know how to move your money out of it. Have fun staying poor, bro.
Yep.
Those people are not your teachers. You need to learn how to navigate this space for yourself. Somebody like Daniel could benefit from a buy group because Daniel already knows how to turn his crypto into fiat, how to move everything around, how to check and make sure it's not a scam. If you are new, especially, don't be in a group like that. Or be in a group like that, but consider it your education. I would plan to lose most of that money and not see a significant return, personally.
100%.
Thank you. Thank you for coming to our TED Talk.
Yeah, that was a good TED Talk. Frame it, post it. So basically,
what's the news and is it going to happen or not? You got to research it more.
Yeah, in a quick nutshell, see, this is, if Daniel takes a break from trolling me, Daniel is one of the people that I would like to talk to about, like, what is actually involved in moving, as Frank says, the technical framework of TikTok to a different network, in this case, frequency. So, okay, Polkadot has a bunch of little parachains. Parachains is a fancy word that Polkadot has coined to talk about all of their different little sub-networks that host on the big network. And they're all special. And the point of them is that different groups can bid to run one of these little parachains, and they can run their project on it. And we're all hunky-dory happy, okay? Frank McCourt is a very wealthy individual who has started a project called Project Liberty. Project Liberty is involved with a parachain called Frequency. Frequency won their auction on Polkadot. This is going to be fast. If you have no clue what I'm talking about, just tune me out and look at my pretty face for 30 seconds, and we'll talk about it in Discord later. Frequency is hosted on Polkadot on one of the parachains. They won their auction in 2021. Their auction is coming up to be rebid this September. So my suspicion is that Frank is using this to get a bunch of publicity so that he wins his auction in September because he wants to keep it. That's my suspicion. There is a chance, though, that it's not a conspiracy, and he genuinely thinks that he can buy TikTok and host it on Polkadot using Frequency. So that's what this whole conversation is. Frank has indicated that he's interested in making a bid to purchase TikTok from ByteDance because of the whole Congress order for them to divest. And exactly like Daniel said, as of right now, TikTok is not even for sale, so there's nothing for him to buy. Also, interesting fact, even if ByteDance was like, we would like to sell TikTok, 80% of TikTok is owned by private investors, including some American billionaires who are probably not going to sell their money or sell TikTok. They're probably not going to sell their... Why on earth would they do that, right? It's a machine. And what's the stat, Evan? Like less than 5% of the people on TikTok are Americans. So like most of it is around the world.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean to say there are many United States citizens on TikTok, but we aren't the bulk of their audience.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And I would agree with what Daniel said, that it is much more likely, in my opinion, that one of the giant uh, Meta or Google or whatever, one of the other giant software companies in America that are fine to operate here, that are probably the ones who pressured Congress into forcing ByteDance to sell because they're
Oh
getting.
my God, what if Elon bought it?
Then we should all go to a different platform because he's going to run it straight into the fucking ground.
That sucks, dude.
He's going to rename it XX and X Tick X. I don't know. He's gonna ruin the name and just do what he's doing and flub it all up, and then we'll just hold on for the ride. I can't even post on Twitter anymore, dude, because every no post goes anywhere. People don't see anything. Like, even if I leave replies to stuff, they never get answered. It's just such, you're just screaming into the void. You're either famous on Twitter or you're never going to be.
Or you're a nobody.
Yeah. It's so frustrating. I'm so sick of like trying to figure out the Twitter algorithm. And anyway, so yeah, that's kind of the nutshell of this whole polka dot thing. So we'll keep a finger on the pulse and see what happens. But my suspicion is that even if they all have the best intentions, that it probably wouldn't work.
Yeah, and if you're again, I would say if you're like, wow, Alex just said a lot of $5 words I know nothing about. How did he learn so much? We can absolutely slow it down. We can get into it for you. There's a lot to learn and plenty of time to do it. If you feel overwhelmed, especially, or you feel FOMO, especially, let that just be a signal to like lean in, chill. This is not going anywhere. You are not going to miss it. You are so early. And even if you never buy a single cryptocurrency, you decide it's not for you, just learning a little about this stuff and hanging out in the context of a community where people are thinking about what is likely to happen in the future and trying to make it happen, trying to be a positive force for it. That's a great room to be in as the world evolves. Like, you are setting yourself up for success whether you buy cryptocurrency or not. That's my final thought, except to tell you, be sure to come back, hang out with us, especially if you're new. Folks like Gabby who are asking great questions today. Not that our regulars didn't, Aunt Bro, Take It Easy, Tori, Lisa. I'm so glad to see Lisa in the chat. We love having you guys here. We're going to be back tomorrow to close out the week strong. 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, which is 12 p.m. UTC, same time, same place. Join the newsletter because you can't always come to the live show. Tap our faces or head to the riseupmorningshow.com. You can also find the link to our Discord there. And if you're having trouble accessing Discord through that link, because some people are having trouble accessing through our links, then do me a favor, follow one of us, send us a comment, send us a message. Just let us know you're having trouble. We'll figure it out. We'll get you in there, okay? And then don't hesitate. It's totally free to come in and ask us a question. Like Alex said, you see something, somebody's telling you about it, just ask. If I don't get to it, if Alex doesn't get to it, somebody in our community will, that, like the people in there, they will do their best to help you, and it's okay to take your time. So, what do you got, Alex? What's your final thought before we take our dog and pony show on the road?
Well met. Good show. Good show, my friends.
Yeah, good show. We somebody said, did Alex have magic coffee, special coffee this morning? I think so. I want some of what he's having.
No, never mind.
Are you sure?
I was just gonna say it's. I just saw the commercial that old Rudy posted of his new Rudy coffee.
What?
Yeah, Rudy's feeling squeezed and he's selling coffee now. Grifter's gonna grift. I was just gonna say, this isn't Rudy's coffee. It's still pretty good.
But if we do try it, we'll tell you about it. The show is not sponsored by Warby Parker, by Unchained, by Rudy's Coffee, but it could be.
It won't be sponsored by Rudy's Coffee.
Yeah. Or your favorite influencers meme coin. Also not sponsored by those. So, thank you, my friends. We'll be back tomorrow. Oh my God, the comments are killing me. Get at us in the Discord, and until then, my friends, be safe,